What if I told you the greatest basketball player alive was once a homeless kid? No father, no money, no permanent address, just a teenage mother fighting to keep her son alive in Akron, Ohio. They moved from apartment to apartment, never staying anywhere long enough to feel safe. Nobody thought this kid would survive, let alone become a billionaire. But today, he owns mansions worth over $100 million. He drives cars most people only see in dreams. And he built a business empire that even Wall Street respects. But here's the part nobody talks about. The luxury you see is not the real story. There is a machine behind all of it. And once you understand how it works, everything changes. Let's get into it. This story begins in 1984, in a small, broken neighborhood in Akron, Ohio. A 16-year-old girl named Gloria James gave birth to a baby boy, completely alone. No husband, no savings, no plan, just a mother's love and a child who needed her. They moved from place to place, never settling, never feeling safe. But inside that struggle, something extraordinary was growing. By high school, this kid's games were on national television. At 17, his jersey was selling before he even had one. Sports Illustrated called him the chosen one, before he played a single professional game. Imagine that kind of pressure on a teenager's shoulders. In 2003, he entered the NBA as the #1 pick, drafted by his hometown Cleveland Cavaliers. Every brand wanted him, but he chose Nike, not for the biggest check, but for the longest future. That single decision at 18 would one day become the largest athlete deal in Nike's history. But here's what nobody expected. LeBron was about to stop promoting brands and start owning them. In 2012, LeBron walked away from a McDonald's deal and put less than $1 million into a pizza chain nobody had heard of, Blaze Pizza. By 2017, that tiny bet was worth $35 to $40 million plus 19 franchise locations, generating monthly income. But here's what made him different from every other athlete. Most players take the endorsement check and move on. LeBron asked a simple question: why promote a brand when I can own part of it? In 2011, he traded his marketing rights for roughly 2% of Liverpool FC without spending a single dollar. By 2024, that stake was worth over $100 million. Then he co-founded Spring Hill Company, valued at $725 million, and kept full control. Forbes confirmed it in 2025. LeBron is officially a billionaire, but where does a man worth billions actually live? That answer starts back in Akron with a decision he made at just 18 years old. At just 18 years old, before his first NBA paycheck even cleared, LeBron bought land in Akron, Ohio. Not in Hollywood, not in Miami, right where he once had no home at all. He built a 30,000 square foot estate with a movie theater, bowling alley, barbershop, and sports bar. It is valued between $9 and $10 million. But here's what makes this property different from everything else he owns. It is not his biggest home, not his most expensive, but it is the one he has never sold. For over 20 years, through Miami, Cleveland, and Los Angeles, he kept this house. Every other property got bought, upgraded, or sold based on strategy, but Akron stays. Because this was never about luxury. It was a boy giving himself the one thing he never had, a home that nobody could ever take away. But if Akron shows his heart, then Miami shows his financial mind. He bought a waterfront mansion during the Heat era and sold it for a multi-million-dollar profit. And what happened to that house after he sold it will surprise you. In 2010, LeBron made a move that had nothing to do with basketball. He bought a waterfront mansion in Coconut Grove, Miami for $9 million. Over 12,000 square feet with a rooftop deck, infinity pool, and a private dock on the water. This was the house where he came home after winning 2 championships, where he celebrated with Savannah, where his kids played by the pool. But when the Miami chapter ended, LeBron did not hold on for emotions. In 2015, he sold it for $13.4 million, a clean $4.4 million profit in 5 years. And here's the part that proves his timing was perfect. Years later, that same house sold again for $18.5 million. He bought at the bottom of the market, lived during the peak, and sold on the rise. No fancy analysts, no complicated formulas, just one simple rule: buy in A-plus cities with strong long-term demand. The same instinct that makes him great on the court makes him great in real estate. But Miami was just a warm-up. Because Los Angeles is where LeBron took his real estate game to a completely different level. In 2017, LeBron bought a 15,846 square foot mansion in Brentwood, Los Angeles for $23 million. 8 bedrooms, an elevator, a full gym and spa with steam and sauna rooms, a home theater, an Onyx bar, outdoor kitchen, and top-tier security everywhere. This is not just a house. It is a performance center disguised as a mansion. He later sold it for $19.6 million. On paper, that looks like a loss. But in reality, it was a test. He used that first home to learn the neighborhood before committing. Most people call it a mistake. LeBron calls it tuition. Once he found the right property, he upgraded and never looked back. But even Brentwood is not his final move. Because a few miles away in Beverly Hills, something much bigger is rising from the ground. In 2020, LeBron spent $36.75 million on a 2.5-acre property in Beverly Hills. Then in 2023, he did something that shocked the neighborhood. He demolished the entire 1930s mansion sitting on it and started building from scratch. By 2025, aerial photos showed a massive multi-structure compound rising from the ground. This is not just a home, it is a mission statement. Training rooms, recovery centers, production spaces for Spring Hill, family living areas, all behind one gate. A kid who grew up moving from apartment to apartment is now building a place where everything happens under one roof. The total investment could exceed $50 to $60 million when construction costs are included. It will be the most expensive and most personal property he has ever owned. But here's the interesting part about timing. LeBron is 40 years old. By the time this compound is finished, he may be retired from basketball. So this home is not being built for who he is today. It is being built for who he is becoming. A businessman, a media mogul, maybe even an NBA team owner. But before we go further into his future, there is another side of LeBron most people overlook: his car collection. And trust me, every single vehicle in that garage has a story. LeBron's car collection is valued between $4.5 and $6 million, and every single vehicle has a purpose. The Ferrari 458 Spider, the Ferrari F430, the Ferrari 599 Fiorano GTO, now worth nearly $2 million due to its rarity. These are not just fast cars. They represent his love for engineering excellence. For daily driving, he trusts the Porsche 911 Turbo S supercar speed with everyday reliability. For big moments, he rolls in the Mercedes Maybach 57S or the Rolls-Royce Phantom worth $500,000. And that Phantom has a special story. It was a gift from Shaquille O'Neal. A handshake between two of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. But the most surprising car in his garage is the Kia K900, worth just $60,000. It sits right next to Ferraris and a Rolls-Royce. He keeps it out of pure loyalty to a brand that trusted him early. Then there is the 1975 Chevy Impala, a $30,000 car that reminds him exactly where he came from. Most billionaires would have sold both of these years ago. LeBron keeps them because relationships matter more than resale value. But the most valuable thing in LeBron's life is not in any garage or mansion. It is his family. And what happened in 2024 between him and his son changed NBA history forever. LeBron married his high school sweetheart, Savannah Brinson. Together they have 3 children, Bronny, Bryce, and Juri. In June 2024, Bronny was drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers with the 55th pick. And that fall, something happened that had never occurred in 78 years of NBA history. A father and son stepped onto the same court, wearing the same jersey, on the same team. Savannah, Bryce, and Juri watched courtside, a family witnessing a moment that may never happen again. But this moment means even more when you understand one thing about LeBron. He grew up without a father. That absence shaped everything about the man he became. He writes #JamesGang on his shoes before every game. Not as a brand, as a reminder. Everything he builds on and off the court begins and ends with them. He celebrates his children publicly, but keeps strong guardrails in place. Enough pride to inspire, enough privacy to protect. He even spends over $1 million a year on body maintenance. Not for records, but to stay healthy enough to be present for his kids as they grow. The James Gang is the emotional center of everything LeBron has built. But right now, that center is being tested, because inside the Lakers, a power struggle is threatening to end his chapter in Los Angeles on very bitter terms. The Russell Westbrook trade in 2021 that cost the team years of competitiveness, and the Bronny draft in 2024 that insiders called an unappreciated favor. Both decisions had LeBron's fingerprints all over them, and Jeannie was tired of paying the price. Then the Buss family sold the Lakers for a record $10 billion. The franchise started building around Luka Doncic. LeBron was now an aging legend in a house that was no longer his. But his response surprised everyone. No outbursts, no tweets, just silence and focus. Because LeBron already knows what comes next, and it is bigger than basketball. Forbes confirmed it in 2025. LeBron James is officially a billionaire. But here's what most people miss about that number. His wealth does not depend on playing basketball anymore. The Nike lifetime deal pays him whether he plays or not. Blaze Pizza returned 30 to 40 times his original investment. His FSG stake grows with a $13 billion sports empire. Spring Hill is a $725 million media engine that he controls. And his real estate portfolio sits above $100 million. Every single piece feeds the next one. Nothing stands alone. Everything compounds. His pizza chain funds his media company. His media company lifts his shoe deal. His shoe deal funds his real estate. That is not just wealth. That is a machine. And LeBron has said it himself. He wants to own an NBA team one day. The FSG experience, the billionaire status, the global brand, everything is already in place. He is not preparing for retirement. He is preparing for ownership. Because basketball will end, bodies will age, contracts will expire, but ownership of land, equity, media, and your own story never expires. LeBron understood this at 18. He still lives by it at 40. And the final truth behind everything you have seen today has been hiding in plain sight since the very first word. Every Ferrari and every billion-dollar deal. LeBron was never chasing wealth. He was chasing ownership. A kid who grew up with nothing spent his entire life making sure nobody could ever take anything from him again. He does not endorse. He owns. He does not rent. He builds. He does not play for teams. He shapes them. Every decision from Nike to Blaze to Liverpool to Spring Hill to Beverly Hills is the same decision. Own it, control it, make it yours. Most people watch this video expecting mansions and supercars, but the real story is a system. Every piece feeds the next piece. Nothing exists alone. Everything compounds. That is not luxury. That is architecture. And the architect grew up without a home. Right now in Beverly Hills, a compound is rising from the ground. Inside its walls, there will be a gym for a body that played 22 NBA seasons, a studio for a media company worth $725 million, and rooms for 3 children who will never know what it feels like to have nowhere to go. That compound is not a mansion. It is an answer to every apartment LeBron lost, every night Gloria worried, every doubt the world placed on a kid from Akron. Remember the opening of this video, a homeless kid, no father, no address. Now you know how he built all of this. Not through luck, not through basketball alone, through one philosophy: own it, control it, make it last. The mansions are not the story. The machine that built them is. From Akron to Beverly Hills, from a kid with no home to a billionaire building a compound, from 3 words on a jersey, the chosen one, to a global institution that earns whether he plays or not. LeBron decided at 18 years old that he would never be owned. And 22 years later, he owns everything. The machine he built does not depend on basketball. It runs on equity, ownership, platform, and family. And it compounds every single year. The compound is still under construction. Spring Hill is still expanding. The FSG stake is still growing. The machine never stops. Now subscribe if this video changed how you see LeBron. This channel breaks down the empires behind the fame. Share this video because this blueprint deserves to be seen by everyone. And drop a comment right now. What surprised you the most? The Beverly Hills compound, the Blaze Pizza return, the Kia still in a billionaire's garage? And answer this: do you think LeBron will own an NBA team? Tell us. Because the man who built this empire is already planning his next move.